Good evening, fellow Nigerians. How you doing, my fellow Empower volunteers? And my name is Afolabi Imoukuede. I'm the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation. I'm sure you've seen my face before on this channel, and some of you obviously have seen me during various live interactive sessions in the various states in the last few months. Well, I'm here this evening as we had promised to be live, to take some of your live feeds, take some of your questions and give answers to burning questions around the Empower program. Let me start by introducing the Empower. The Empower program, as you know, is the job creation initiative of the federal government. It is really a program that has been designed to help employability enhancement for a lot of our unemployed graduates, for which we made a specific promise of 500,000. The Empower program seeks to engage 500,000 unemployed graduate youths. In addition to that, we also have the non-graduate program for Empower, where you have the Empower Build, vocational, across construction, automobile, and other disciplines. We also have the Empower Technology or Empower Knowledge, where we've got the hardware, the software, and also the Empower Creative. Let me start by speaking first with the non-graduate program. In 2016, the application was open, June last year, June 12, 2016, which ran through August 31st, 2016, and we had applications on for both the graduate program and the non-graduate program. So I know a lot of you who applied for various components under the non-graduate program. You've been asking the questions, has the federal government forgotten us? You've not said anything about us. When are you going to deploy us? We've seen a lot. We've heard you. We've heard your questions, and this evening I tried to provide a few answers. We would start deploying you from the month of March by the grace of God. The plan is really to deploy you in batches. So we would start by deploying some of you, especially those of you who applied to the build vocational, the vocational build, Empower Build. We'll start deploying you from the month of August in batches, and then obviously would also soon enough also come to those of you who applied for the hardware, software, and creative. So my message to you this evening is stay tuned. Stay tuned to this channel, and we'll give you more details. As I would also obviously contact you. We have your contact details, so we'll contact you as we deploy you in batches. But we will give more information in the next few weeks regarding that. Now, for those of you who are already in the program, I'm told from the feedbacks we've gathered across across the various social media channels, there are issues around payment, there are issues around those of you that have received SMS, to fill some of the available slots. In other words, the 2016 waiting list. There you've got questions and clarity around devices, concerns around redeployment, and then some of you have raised questions around you are verified, you have not been deployed, and your online profile also shows not verified. Okay, so let me start by speaking with the thorny issues, which is first payment. One thing we must make clear is this program was designed such that you as beneficiaries would also be in full control of every aspect of this program. By that I mean your payment will come directly to your bank accounts, and that was the reason why during application we had asked you for your BVN, your BVN number, and then at the point of pre-selection we then asked you all to provide your bank account details. Now at that point, when we were going to commence payment in December, we needed to do validation to ensure that we are paying the right person who has applied. Remember that technology, as much as it's a big enabler, it's also got its drawbacks, which means that if someone steals your identity, they could disguise to be you and also start collecting what is meant for you. So that was the essence of having a physical verification immediately after you were pre-selected. And I know that a lot of states started physical verification in December, and that process, extended verification, ran up until about March for a lot of you in a lot of states. Now, the essence of physical verification was to physically verify you, just like the word means. You all were to have assembled in your various local government secretariats with our partners in National Orientation Agency and NYSC, who worked with us to physically verify you. You were verified against your age to be sure that you were still within the ages of 18 to 35 as at December 31st, 2016. You were verified against your qualification to be sure that you are really a graduate that you said you are. And then, of course, you were verified against your NYSC discharge certificate, because again, this is an employability enhancement program, so every one of you must be ready to go into the labor market. So hence NYSC discharge certificate was important. Let me note, however, that those of you who had OND and NCE, clearly that you're exempted from that. Now the next big thing is you are verified to be sure that you reside in that community. This is a program where we deployed you based on your state of residence, your community, because it's a program that you are supposed to contribute to the development of your community. So it was important that if I say I live in Gwarimpa in Abuja, that you show an ID card or a student card or something that says that you live in that area. And the last but not the least is you were verified against employment. You know, if you were employed, because again, this is for unemployed graduates. So if you were employed, clearly you will be disqualified. That was the essence of the physical verification. Now, after the physical verification, if you are successful, you are qualified. That's what we mean by qualified. If you are not successful, you are disqualified. So amongst the 200,000 of you that we deployed across states, as at now, as at June, just before we reopened the portal, when we had closed for final census, 180,606 of you are qualified volunteers, meaning you scaled through physical verification. And we then have a total of about 4,822 of you who were disqualified for one reason or the other. Now, 14,464 were absent, meaning all through the months from December when we started physical verification till towards the end of March. I think it was even March 12 precisely that we said was going to be the end of verification, and indeed some states even still applied for further extension. The point is, all through our various verification processes, you never showed up. So you are either absent or what we call a no-show. So what does that mean? That means, therefore, that if you are disqualified or you are absent, there is no way you can progress to receiving money. And also there is no way you can be deployed. I do know that there were some states that erroneously deployed everyone that was sent to them, regardless of the report from the physical verification that was conducted by NOA and NYSC. But I'm sure such states are already beginning to regularize, because if you are not qualified by the physical verification process, there is no way we would ask you to be deployed, and there is no way we would pay you. So that's it. So for my the volunteer who's asked a question that I've not been deployed and my profile shows not verified, clearly if you are not verified, you cannot be deployed, and if you are not deployed or not verified, you cannot expect payment. So what it means, therefore, is that right now there are only about 180,606 of you that really qualify to go into the payment environment. Now, out of this 180,606 of you, we've got what we now call the what we call NIBS verified. So every one of you that is within this batch will take you, will bring you into, once you are qualified and you have been deployed, we bring you into the payment environment. And in bringing you into the payment environment, we then send you to NIBS for NIBS validation. What do I mean by NIBS validation? It means that we compare your details you've given us on your portal, your first name, your middle name, your last name or your surname. We take your bank account, we take your BVN as you provided us on the portal and your bank name. And we then compare that with what NIBS, which is a Nigerian Interbank Settlement Scheme, and they are the custodian of all the BVNs we have in Nigeria. We compare that record you have given us on the portal to the record they have that is tied to your BVN. Now, where you have a match, you will not have any payment issue. You will be paid, and that has been the situation of that's been the story of 130,814 of you out of this 163,500. These beneficiaries have received complete payment month on month for the singular reason that their BVN, the details we have on their BVN locator in NIBS matches the details they provided us on the portal. Now, it's important I let you know, my fellow Nigerians, that this ordinarily should have been a further ground for disqualification. It means that we should really have disqualified another perhaps 33,000 of you for the singular reason that your payment records do not match. What we found on with NIBS on the BVN record locator. But you must be grateful again to the president and vice president, who have extended this extended grace that will work with you month on month to validate you till you're able to receive payment. And that's what we mean when we say you are NIBS verified. To be NIBS verified means, yes, you have been qualified through physical verification, and then at NIBS verification, your details are matching, and then you begin to receive payment. And like I said, that's been the case of 130,814 of you. But then for those of you who are not within that category, what we began to do was to work with you from the very first month of payment in January, after we made the December payment in January, through your focal persons, obviously through the NPVN portal where you all submitted your details, in giving you the long rope, of updating your records, ensuring that you provide us matching records. And as a matter of fact, we also have a payment history on your portal that is able to let you know your status in terms of whether you are now valid or the reason why you have not been paid. Most of these reasons border around one, non-matching BVN, like I've earlier explained. Two, where you have a matching BVN, your names don't match. At least two of your names must match the way we have it. Three is an issue of perhaps your bank account that you gave us is not linked to the BVN. You didn't link your BVN to the bank account. Four, a lot of you, yes, you have your matching BVN, you have your matching BVN, your names match, but you gave us a non-NUBAN account number. Now, what is the NUBAN? NUBAN is the National Uniform Banking account number, which is a 10-digit account number, not the 14, 15, 16 digits we used to have before. So if you give us a non-NUBAN account number, you also cannot be paid. And the last but not the least among the common errors we've seen is a lot of you are also using accounts that you set up maybe during your NYSC days that was profiled not to take more than 19,000 naira. And so when we try to pay you 30,000 naira, the banks return your money and saying that account cannot receive that amount of money. So really those are the likelihood, the possible scenarios why a lot of you have not been paid or had payment issues. But the good news is month on month, we've had increasing numbers. So to the point that I can say to you that at end of May, yes, as at end of May, when we were paying you your May stipend in end of May, when we're paying your May stipend in June, we now have 163,500 of you now qualified. So it means that and amongst those of you, some of you have just received 1 month payment. So clearly what we do is month on month, we add on as many people that come to update their accounts. Once you update your accounts, and we pass it to NIBS, and you are validated, you get paid for that month. Then we take you on for the next month, we take you on for the next month. So what you notice is that once you get your first payment, for example, if you got your first payment in the month of March, you will continue to get April, May, June, and then we will then work to pay you your backlogs. So that's another popular question. So for those of you that have been getting payment, we would be before the end of July. At least those of you who have been getting payment since March, since April, since May, we would clearly process as many backlogs as possible. And I have good news for you that before the end of July, a lot of you that have been asking about your backlogs, you will get your backlog payment. But let me clarify, however, for December. That's another funny question a lot of you get to ask me. December is a peculiar month. It was a month we started to pay, and the criteria for payment is for those who have been physically verified and their names got to us before December 31st, 2016. Remember, not all of you again were verified at the same time. So those are the ones that are qualified for December. A lot of those that are qualified for December have already started receiving their December, or have already received their December payment. And some of you also are qualified but have bank account payment issues. You will get your December as part of your backlogs, but not every one of you will get December. I think it's important that I clarify that and make that clear. Now, what are we doing to ensure that this whole issue of payment comes to an end? I've already said to you that if you fall in the category of about 19,000 of you that are either absent or were absent from verification, or the 4,822 of you that were disqualified, you are not in our payment environment. Now, how would you know which category you fall? Of course, if you're absent, you know you are absent. Now, if you're disqualified, you would have been told. But just in case you are not sure, anytime from Monday next week, we have the commitment of our technical team to ensure that they would have uploaded your status on the MPVN so that you can cross-check to know your situation now. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that category. But those of you, so the 180,606 of you that are valid, for which 163,500 of you has received at least one payment. And guess what? That number would have also gone up, because a lot more of you would have also received your June stipend as your first payment. We're just reconciling the payment report for that now, but I know a lot more of you would have received your June stipend as your first payment. Now, all of you in that category, between that number and the 180,606, we've got about 11,000 of you, 540, that we're still working to sort out all your payment issues. I know, so right now, of that number, we have about 6,000 of you that have already gone into the payment environment. So as I speak to you today, the supplementaries, we have supplementary payment that is currently ongoing right now for the month of June. So we've got a total of about 7,000 thereabouts that will receive payment from today, from tomorrow through to perhaps about Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Some of you will begin to receive your payment, and perhaps it will also be your first payment. So that's for about 7,000 of you. Now that will now be left with about 5,000 of you. Of those 5,000 of you, we have about 4,000. Now, the 5,000 of you that are left, we don't have account records for you. Specifically, there are 4,979 of you that on your MPVN, you are even inactive, and we also don't have account records for you. So I'm sure this category are clearly not even in the program at all. And then there are about 587 of you that you are active on the portal. In other words, you've been onboarded on the portal, but we don't have account records for you. So, but for as many of you that have been updating your bank details through the emails to the support at mail-dex.com, or through the focal persons, or through the various channels that we have provided you. I'm sure a lot of you as well have also been receiving calls from our call center. We're working assiduously to ensure that in this month of July, every one of you that is qualified for payment, we will be able to sort out your issues. However, let me also please mention, if after all of this, after 8 months of being in the program and done everything that we could to do, and we still cannot pay you, I'm sorry, we will have no choice but to exit you from the program. I mean, there's still a few of you that, as at last week, Friday, we found out that your BVN is still zero name match, meaning your names on the portal have no match to your BVN record. Some of you have just one name match. Some of you have used your spouse's BVN, despite we telling you several times that we will not make payments to proxies. So I think we'll do our best to clean up this whole issue about payment or no payment. But then once we do all that we can, and if you still can't get payment by end of July, we will communicate our final decision to you on that. I hope that I have attempted to answer all your questions around payment or no payment. Now, those of you who received, now closely related to payment is device selection. Now, device selection is such that you must first and foremost also understand that the federal government of Nigeria entered into an asset finance agreement with the Bank of Industry to provide you these devices that will serve both as your work tools and also as your training tool on an asset finance basis. It's also not news to you that the federal government extended an additional 4,500 naira device credit to you to ensure that any device that you pick would have almost no impact, minimal or zero impact to your regular 30,000 stipends. And those of you who have selected know that 8 vendors were initially pre-approved by BOI, from which you all made your selection. Well, sorry, 9 vendors were pre-approved. Along the line, HP dropped off, and we had those of you who had selected HP were asked to go and reselect again among a few other devices. Now, so that's how the device works. But then selection is only open to those who have no payment issues. So right now, what it means, therefore, is that only these 163,500 volunteers who are either though NIBS verified or NIBS validated are able to select devices. That's what it means, because it's an asset finance, so we need to ensure that only those that we have been able to successfully pay are also able to pick devices. So those of you who still struggling with your account details, my news to you is still stay patient. Let's sort out your payment issues. Once your payment issue is resolved, you don't need to do anything. Automatically, your account will be profiled to be able to select a device. Now, you've heard us talk about in device selection, there's a batch A and a batch B. Batch A is for those of you who were able to select your device before March 27, or not before March 27, and there are about 116,000 of you that were able to make that selection. So those of you are the ones that are in batch A, and the schedule that the schedule of delivery by your selected vendors have also been made public, and we would continue to, once the portal again closes tomorrow at 23:59 hours. After that, we'll put a lot more emphasis on the devices so that you are fully aware of the vendors' timetable, and also when the devices will get to your location. And we would also send you SMS anyway for your pickup location. You'll be notified of your pickup location. Now, I'm speaking primarily to the batch A. The volunteers who are in batch A. Those of you who are in batch B, meaning that you selected your device any day from March 28th up until perhaps yesterday. Because as you get payments, as your payment issue gets resolved, you will profile you to select your device. All of you will be in batch B. Now, batch B, you need to still be a little more patient because we have not even ordered your devices yet. By that, you know your devices are not the kind of, you don't just go to the market to buy them. The Bank of Industry has got to order it through the vendors. So we're hoping again that once we're able to sort out all of you still having outstanding payment issues this month of July, towards the end of July, we're able to collate all of you that are in the batch B, and then the Bank of Industry will be able to place the orders, and we then can keep you updated. But stay focused, stay patient. The batch A would get more information, and then they will be able to start picking their devices. Now, some of you obviously have received SMSs. So as a result of being absent from physical verification and also being disqualified, it goes without saying that we've got a few slots across states. And so what we did, because again, every state had a waiting list, even at the point of when we pre-selected and deployed you all to the states end of November, early December. So every state has a waiting list. So from that waiting list, to fill the available slots in every state, we sent out SMS early in July, but just around before the portal opened in June, about June 11, June 12, thereabout. To those of you, the 2016 waiting list. Now, those of you who have received SMS to say congratulations, you have now been selected from the waiting list. Stay tuned. The text message also said that we will communicate further details on your physical verification and onboarding to you later. So just stay tuned. We haven't forgotten you. Most likely we will onboard you with your next colleagues that are coming in, but we'll stay tuned and we'll let you know when you will be fully activated. Now, I think the last question that I've seen here before I come to speak about 2017 application is redeployment. Now, redeployment is a bit of a tricky issue, and the short answer to that question is that there is no redeployment in Empower. This is not NYSC, where you all seek redeployment and sometimes NYSC is able to oblige you. In Empower, the difference between Empower and NYSC is that we're deploying you based on your state of residence. Remember that in Empower, there was a lot of, the power of choice was very much at play with Empower. First and foremost, it was your choice which track you wanted to go, whether you wanted a graduate track or you wanted a non-graduate track. Now, that's one choice. The second choice was within the graduate track, you had 4 tracks at the time when you were applying: teach, health, agric, and community, even though we've embedded community now to teach. You had 4 tracks. Again, it was your choice which track you picked. We did not select based on your suitability for any track. So I found my friends like Musa and Bauchi, who ideally should be in health because he's microbiology graduate, but he's in agro. Such was the power of choice. And the next choice you also had was where you wanted to serve your community work. We clearly said we will be deploying based on your states of residence. So I expect you, if you're living in Abuja, to have put in Abuja, and if we deployed you to work in Abuja, then there should be no issue why you're seeking redeployment to go somewhere else. So the short answer believes that this program is not built, we don't have the built-in mechanisms for redeployment. However, there were cases, some of you, yes, I'm fully aware that in the early days, especially in December, there were cases of erroneous deployment due to similarities with local governments. So a few local governments, that the national local governments in multiple states, and we had a few of those issues. So there were some genuine error in posting. Those we took note of, and we collated all such errors across the states, and those ones we will redeploy. And I think that collation has been long done. We're just waiting for perhaps the end of school session, end of this month, and then we'll be able to notify the affected volunteers in that category so that they would move to where they really ought to be before the next school session. So that's the only category really that we have for redeployment, so that you do. And the reason I'm saying this is I don't want a situation where I say to you that there's no redeployment, and then you hear one or two of your friends who you used to know in one, in your state, and now they've moved to another state. I mean, there were cases of error. I mean, I met a lady in Osun while I was in Osun in April, who was, for some reason, should have been deployed to Port Harcourt, but hey, her name came out in Osogbo, and she came to Osogbo, did her physical verification, was deployed there, started to work, and she actually applied to be reposted back to Port Harcourt. But along the line, she liked what she was doing there, and her husband came down to join her in Osogbo, and she told me, Oga, please delete my name from the redeployment list. I'm okay now. My husband has come, and I think he's also found something to do, and they're fine. I mean, so yes, we did have some of those erroneous, but there were very few. But then again, so those are really the reasons why the whole topic of redeployment came up. But there's really no redeployment. But just like I said again yesterday, we would, however, because life is not a perfect ball, and we don't run an idealistic world, we run a real world. There would be extraneous reasons, but we would like to consider that on a case-by-case basis, only on extraneous reasons. But please know this and tell your friends that Empower has no redeployment. We believe, first and foremost, this is a temporary employability enhancement program for you. We believe you want to put in as many hours as possible to gain all the experience you've not had in the last many years that you've been unemployed. And beyond that, the truth is, any reason for redeployment should be an economic advantage that should take you out of Empower. I mean, yeah, if you got your PhD admission, or your master's admission that is in another school outside of your state of residence or where you are currently deployed, that's a plus in life. It's worthy of resigning from Empower. If you get married, for example, and your husband wants you to move, that's another plus in life that we believe it's worthy of you also exiting the program. So really, we would only consider extraneous reasons on case-by-case basis. But please, the short answer again is there is no redeployment in Empower. I hope I don't get asked this question again. So I think with all my friends in 2016, I have taken care of most of your concerns. I will still get to look at some questions, some live feeds as we go on. But whilst I take a look at that, let me speak to 2017 application. Okay, so I'm just trying to read some of your live feeds. Those that apply still not receive the text member. Okay, so that's 2017. So I think the live feeds I'm seeing here are questions regarding 2017 application. I will deal with that now. So 2017, my fellow brothers and sisters, yes, June 13 was the date. In 2017, when we said countdown to Empower going live, we went live, and in less than maybe 28 hours, Empower 2017 application process will become history. It's been a good work. the last 1 month. I want to thank every one of you that has commended our efforts. The technical team has worked very hard, night and day, to ensure you have what you call hassle-free application process. I'm glad that a lot of you were able to, a lot of you had a seamless experience with the application process this time around. I think we have our technical team and every one of us, all our stakeholders, to thank for that. So, but basically, let me walk us through. So your application is just your first step, and this time around is also very competitive. At my last count, last check last night, I think we are over 2.2 million applications at the moment. We wonder at what number we are going to close. But be that as it may, there is a journey in the process. The first is the application, which you've done, and the next is your BVN validity. For the very reason why a lot of you from the 2016 have complained, I've not been paid, I've not been paid, I've not been paid, is the reason why we are going to ensure this time around that we do the BVN validation even before you continue your Empower journey. We want to ensure that everyone that finally gets into the next phase of selection are those who already have matching records, so that those who eventually get finally pre-selected and they go through physical verification and end up being final selected volunteers will have no payment issue from day one. How wonderful will that be? My goal is to ensure that your friends, the 130,814 of you who have enjoyed unbroken payment history and experience with Empower, that is the experience of every single one of you in the 2017 batch. That's really what we want. That's the Empower experience. And so the next step is going to be BVN validation. Once your details are valid, you will then get an SMS, an invitation to go and write your tests. Now, let me say that yes, we did put out a test guide. Please don't hold us to that test guide anymore for now. We are focused on scaling up our BVN validation because the applications that have come in huge, significantly huge numbers compared to where we were last year. So we decided to focus our efforts on scaling up the BVN validation, such that once we commence the testing process again, it will now be without a break. So therefore, the point is, yes, some of us are still writing tests. We did not stop the test entirely, but we slowed down on the guide. So it's right to say that the guide is somewhat stepped down, but from Monday, expect a revised guide, a refreshed guide, and we would really be ramping up on speed on the test. So what is important is this: you will get a text, a text message or an SMS message inviting you to go and write your test. If you have not gotten that SMS message, you know the message you're going to get? You will get an invalid error message. So if you didn't get an SMS and you go on to the portal and want an attempt to write your test, what you will get will be invalid message. So I've seen a lot of feeds that are talking about, I tried to take the test, I got an invalid message. Yes, because you are jumping the gun. Please, this is in 2017, we have too many people that have applied. I think it's important that ability to follow instructions, ability to listen, ability to understand, ability to read, understand, listen, and follow every instruction would be a selection criteria. Remember that you are going into employment, into workforce. This is employability enhancement program. At the end of your 2 years, that which the employers who will end up becoming employers, what they are looking for are what we call employability skills. And clearly, listening skills, understanding skills, critical thinking skills, critical reasoning skills, ability to follow instructions. Those are skill sets that every employer is looking for in a valuable employee. So please take this as your testing ground. Stop sending messages that, oh, I've not been able to write my test, when you have not gotten an SMS invitation. Stop sending messages, I'm getting error message, when you have not gotten an SMS invitation. We already told you, if you don't get an SMS invitation and you go to write your test, you will get an invalid. That's it. Now, how do I know if I'm among those that might be BVN, I failed BVN validation? You will also get a text message. So what it means therefore is, from stage 1, which is application process, which a lot of you have done, to stage 3, which is testing process, the stage 2 there, you will get an SMS. The proof of the stage 2, which is BVN validation, is an SMS. You either get an SMS to say, congratulations, go and write your test, or congratulations, we wish you success in your future endeavor because your application journey has terminated here due to non-matching records. Now, during your test, this time around, we would also try to get indicators of maybe the kind of device you will want if you are selected. So please do not hold us to it that because we asked you to select a device or give us an indication of which device you would want, if selected, is a condition for selection. No, it's just a presumptive caution that, okay, if selected, which device would you want? So that's what we mean by device selection as step 4. Once you go past that, the rest then for us is our own selection matrix, which will be made public once we finalize it after the portal has closed. What criteria and all of that, we would make all that public. And then after all that is done in the back end, so because there's been a lot of questions from those of you who say, after my test, what do I do? Some of you are looking for results. You want to know your results. You want to know your test. Or they have written my test, what am I supposed to do? After you've written your test, just continue doing what you're doing. Stay back at home or continue whatever it is you're doing with your life, and we will contact you. It's like when you go for an interview, or you go for a job interview, what do the companies tell you? We will contact those of you who are successful. They don't contact the 1 million people that come for job interviews. They only contact those who are successful. So stay tuned. This process is as transparent as it has been. For those of your colleagues who are in the program already, they will tell you you didn't need to know anybody, and so you don't need to know anybody either. We will run a transparent process as we've always done. So that brings me to the question, therefore, of those of you who are paying to buy forms. Please, this is a program that the federal government has offered to you. Every process of this way requires no money of any sort. Of course, you want to go and do your application online, you go to a cyber cafe. Clearly, you will pay for the cyber cafe. That's not what I'm talking about. You want to print something in the cyber cafe, clearly you will pay. That's not what I'm talking about. But when someone comes to you and say this form is a form that will guarantee your selection, you pay 5,000, you pay 500, you pay a dime, well, I'm sorry, I think you should politely refuse, because there is nothing of such. There is nothing of such. There is nothing of such. We have not, some states, yes, are encouraging for those of us, brothers and sisters out there who are in hinterlands, maybe don't have connectivity. Yes, some of our state partners are sponsoring forms to get their details and then come up to the urban centers to be able to upload their details onto the portal. We don't frown against that. We don't frown against any effort to assist the indigent in any of our societies, in any of the states in Nigeria. But one thing is needful for us all to know, This process only recognizes applications that are in the portal. How it gets into the portal? Well, there are many ways by which you can get into the portal, but we only recognize applications that are in the portal. So please stop paying any of such. As a matter of fact, report such cases to us. You have all our social media channels. We've got Facebook, like I'm speaking to you through one of it. We've got the Twitter handle. We've got the Instagram handle. Of course, we've got the support emails. We've got the WhatsApp. You've got the call center. So please ensure you report any of such cases. Now, this also goes to my friends who are in the program already. Clearly, I've been around 15 states and I've seen some myself. I encourage you, stop any and every form of payment in any guise. We have not asked any state partner to collect money from any one of you in the name of ID card. We have not asked any state partner or local government partner to collect any money from you in the guise of monitoring. Some of you sent me a tweet earlier today about Enagro training, and they asked you to bring 1,200 naira. I was going to ask that that colleague of ours who tweeted what state that is. Please refrain from making any mandatory payment to anyone, whether it's in the name of Empower Ambassador or local government monitor or state monitor. Please refrain from making any of such dubious illegal payments. What you owe us and owe yourselves is to report it. Report it again through any of our social media channels. Now, let me clarify. I have no issues against any free will contributions. I'm very aware a lot of you are already forming clusters of cooperatives, clusters of cooperatives in agri, in your different fields. Some of you are forming a susu. And so where you decide to have voluntary contributions amongst yourselves, there is nothing against it. I mean, after all, your money has come directly to your account. You're in full control of whatever you do with your stipend. But where anyone, in the guise of any name, under any guise, whether it is to give you t-shirt, or it is to give you ID card, or it is to give you clearance, monthly clearance, seeking to collect any mandatory fee, please refrain from making those payments and report it. We will guard your identity, as I've done for many of you who have already reported. We will guard your identity, and to ensure that you are not somewhat blacklisted by your by your employers in the state, or witch hunted. That we will guarantee you. So for those of you who are afraid of reporting, please report, but you can be sure that we will guard your identity. I think with that, except there are any other interesting issues in the live feeds, I think I've spoken to all the concerns. So I don't see any. Okay, I use Access Bank. What's Empire doing about the backlogs? I think I've answered. The talk about backlogs. Last payment was they came in batches. May make it clear to us. Well, government or the banks, because the last payment was delayed. I don't understand what you mean. Last payment was delayed. The last payment was delayed because yes, we tried to pay you before the last day of the month, but also remember that we had a few public holidays which delayed the process. But and that was just 1 month. But we'll keep improving, and we're sure that we can guarantee you that you won't have delayed payments as much as possible. Yeah. Okay. That I've not collected any stipend. I've already spoken. Okay, so Amarachi, Amicable Bliss, Amarachi Wanoka. Can someone redeploy from one state to another? I already spoke about redeployment. Redeployment is not encouraged in this program. We would only extraneous cases, like I already explained, but no, the short answer is no, there is no redeployment. I write the test but was not sure. I tried the second attempt but logged off without writing it. Will it affect my first attempt test? Once you've written your test, you've written your test. So don't worry about multiple attempts to write a test. Do not deprive one from getting an SMS from Empower? No. If your phone can do not disturb. Deprive one from getting an SMS on Empower Mohammed Suleiman? Definitely no. Except if your phone does not receive text. But I don't know why do not disturb will disturb you. God bless the Empower team at all levels. Thank you. Amen. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Acting President. Thank you for your prayers. Erasmus Wafa, please use the verification to check if the applicant is already working before proceeding for the test. Don't worry. Okay, so what it is thank you for this point. We are going to ensure that only those who are not already existing in the 2016 batch will get into 2017. Don't worry, we've already started catching some smart ones. I can bet you that from the validation we do with BVN, we have seen a few hundreds who are already in the 2016 batch but are thinking they can be smarter than us. Thank you for that. Ishola Titilolo Labisi, please tell them, like I clearly explained to them, that there's nothing like who I know. Oh yes, thank you for, please continue to amplify that. There's no who I know. Yakubu Dakumi, thank you for your compliment. Kudos to you all. Okay, Doro Aminu, good day Empower. I have registered for almost 100 applicants and I took serious precaution while registering the applicant. Although 98 applicants applied for NTEACH, but up to now, only applicant that registered received your message. Yes, I've just said it. Don't worry about that. They would all get one message, either a message to proceed for test or a message to tell them that their application journey has ended. I'm not able to scroll up. Okay, I think those are really, there's not much. Again, okay, I've read all these messages. So, I think it's been a good evening, and it's been a great time chatting with you. We will try to have as many more of this, but keep your questions and concerns coming. What hour of 13 July 2017 will application close? 23:59 hours. So 1 minute before July 14 midnight. Yes, that's what it is. Can hyphen in name deprive you from okay, Elo Benije. Can hyphen in name deprive you?
Well, from payment.
From payment. Well, again, just put your name the way it is on BVN. That's all I will say. Please, how many names? Well, you may have 4 or 5 names on your BVN, but we try to do 2 name matches. My experience is there are 3 names. The maximum number of names are 3. But once you have at least 2 matching names out of your 3, we pay you. Good evening, sir. Obanla, Bukola. Kudos, God bless you. Please, I made a mistake. I can't even read it. Please, I made a mistake on my son's name. How keeps jumping, so I can't even follow through.
Okay, can I read? Good evening, sir. I made a mistake on my. Good evening, sir. I made a mistake. Hold on. Okay, what happens to multiple registration? Let me ask you the questions. What happens to multiple registration? Prosper AJ.
Yeah, so like I said again, with multiple, it's just like we do even last year. Last year we had over 1 million applications, but then after we cleaned out, we clean out first by removing multiple applications and also removing incomplete applications. So we'll do the same thing again this year. Yes, we have over 2 million, but I'm sure a lot of it are multiple and also incomplete. So. Okay, so
Hamzat Additional Hamed says, God bless you, Mr. Afolabi, you're a rare gem.
Thank you, Adiza. Hamzat. Thank you, Hamzat. Yeah.
Babangida Abdullah says, I've never received any monthly stipend since 2016. Please help me.
Well, Abdullah, I guess my question to you is, have you updated your account details? There is the support@mail-death.com by which you can send your updated account details with a proof of your identity, maybe your BVN update or what have you. Or you may have also been called, if you've been among those that have been called very recently, or you're also one of those that have updated your accounts through your focal persons. If you've used any of these means, I'm sure we'll get to you, so long as you are not disqualified or one of those absent from verification. Yeah.
Okay, so Olorunikpa Folorunsho Peter says, sir, please update what about the payment history?
Yes, so we would update the payment history again. You would recall that first and foremost, and that's a very good question, Peter. How is Kogi anyways? I guess that's a good question, because when we did put it out, it was so that it could help a lot of you, give you some lights through this whole maze and uncertainties. But what I did find is a lot of us, again, were not able to properly interpret the payment history. Now, what we do with payment history is to say, okay, the month of May, what did we do? We sent you for payment. What is the remark? It came back invalid. What's the reason? Maybe account non-ban or BVN matching. But a lot of my good friends in Empire, what I started seeing is, you will say, oh God, they sent me for payment. They sent me for payment. I didn't get any money. And I'm like, just read the whole thing. It says sent for payment, reason, remarks, invalid, and then what is the reason? They tell you. So that's the essence of it. But we saw that it really wasn't achieving the purpose. But I hope that now that it's been brought up and I've explained what it is, we have a greater understanding of the purpose. Now, yes, we stopped at the end of April, because we now needed to really focus. The payment history, first and foremost, was not achieving the purpose. And then we really were now looking to really scale up this effort of reaching everybody. That was why we started making phone calls. The phones are not the safest way to collect sensitive information, and we remember again, we had to advertise numbers, specific numbers from which our call center team will be calling from. And we also even still said to you that if anyone, and there have been a few fraudulent people that have used different numbers wanting to call you to get your details with the plans to defraud. But we had to do that. But now that this was stabilizing, like I said, of the 11,000 of you that are yet to receive payment, 7,000 of you now are in the payment history, are in our payment environment. You will start getting some more payments between tomorrow up until perhaps Wednesday next week. And we have, so now we will go back again to updating the payment history for every volunteer. So once by Monday we are done with the issue of those that are disqualified and absent, we'll notify them through the portal. We will then focus on payment history. So in the next 2 weeks, I'm sure all of you would have your payment history updated.
Orioha Oluchi wants to know if those who are serving can apply.
Well, so tricky question. If you are serving and you know that application closes in less than 25 hours or 27 hours. But I guess the answer is, if you're serving and you know you would have completed your youth service by the time we're doing physical verification, yes, you can apply. A lot of your colleagues did apply, being coppers last year, and they were fortunate enough that they passed out in November and verification was in December. But of course, some of your colleagues were not as fortunate, who applied, were selected, were pre-selected, but they were disqualified because their passing out was in April, and as at December, during physical verification, they did not have NYSC discharge. So those ones, I hope, would have applied now for the 2017. So the short answer is yes, but you would only be able to make it if by the day we call for physical verification, you have completed your service and you do have your discharge certificate.
Okay, so Muslim Afolabi wants to know if
Muslim Afolabi?
Yes.
Muslim Afolabi?
Yes.
My namesake. Okay.
If 1.2 million people pass the test and screening, will you pick everyone, or how do you do the selection? So
selection, like I said, the selection criteria is as transparent as we did last year's criteria. As we did last year's selection. I don't want to juxtapose our selection criteria of last year on this year, so wait till we release the selection criteria. But clearly, again, we're only recruiting for 300,000. So that's why I said again, it's very tough. Last year, those of you in the program, really, I should be grateful. Your ratio was 200,000 to 350,000. This year, it's going to be 300,000 to God knows, maybe 1.82 million people. We don't know. I mean, so yes, we would make public the selection criteria, but then again, you can be sure that it will be transparent. You don't need to know anyone, and everyone has a chance at a fair shot. Yeah.
Okay, Babangida Abdullah says, "Sir, I don't have access to my profile. It is blocked, so I can't update my account on BVN. So I've never received any stipend since the inception of the program. Please help me."
What state? Babangida Abdullah, I am surprised. This is the 8th month. You are perhaps one of those that are about to chuck out of the program because you have not shown enough proactiveness. This is the 8th month of the program. You must have. I want to know your state. You must have a focal person. You must have an NOA office. You must have a SUBEB office. I mean, someone must have deployed you. And so, if you have not used all of these avenues to provide update to your account, then I find it quite difficult to believe that story. In the 8th month, so perhaps you're not even working. You're one of those that were deployed, you showed up day one, and because you are not paid after month one, you stopped working. But it would be good to get your details. I'm sure you have how to reach us and send your details, not through Facebook, of course. I suppose you can send your details to email. So go on the portal, even if you can't log on to your portal, log on to mpvn.empower.gov.ng and see the email there and send the email.
Okay, Gonikon Kathleen Soye says, "Good evening, sir. Please, will the distribution of device on Saturday still hold? And if yes, what are the requirements? Thank you, sir, for your time."
So first and foremost, it's only if you picked AfriOne, for example. I'm sure you picked a volunteer that picked AfriOne device. AfriOne device, as I speak, are currently being preloaded in the warehouse in Lagos, and I think we're still on schedule. I'm not sure yet. I need to touch base with the device team, but we would update you, even if. So again, the announcement was the dispatch would happen on Saturday, not that you will pick up on Saturday. We're still going to have to notify you, where, and tell you also where to pick up. So let me say that we should still be able to do first dispatch by the weekend, and then but just wait to get the pickup protocols. We will send each and every one of you SMS of where to pick up, and all you need is to come with your ID, some form of ID that identifies you to pick up.
Abba Maiwada says there's a list going around that Empower released it with numbers and addresses where to collect our devices. Please, sir, how legit is the list?
No, it's fake. It's fake news. We never released that. If you go to your device selection page, what they have released as a list from Empower are actually the service centers of all the providers. So that's what I don't know what the motivation is, but that's what some tricky people do. So what they went is each of the 8 or 9 providers had provided their service centers, and that was provided to you to inform your choice, so that at least if I'm living in Abuja and I want to pick a device vendor, perhaps part of my motivation will be a device vendor that has a service center in Abuja. So that was the reason why, as part of the information that was released by all the vendors, they provided their service centers across Nigeria. Now some fraudulent cheeky person has now gone to take all of that and say that it's our pickup information. It's fake news. So please just wait to hear from us. You know all the official handles. If you are listening to me on this medium, it tells me that you know that this is our official handle. So wait to get information from us. Every one of you asking me even about schedules of tests and all that, come again to this medium, and the update will be there for you once we release it.
Okay, the last question. Adisa Babatunde Adewale says, "Good day, sir. I think this program is a voluntary job and the payment is 30,000. Why is it that it is a full-time job with 30,000 for graduates and the state is not adding any stipend?"
Well, first and foremost, I think, Babatunde, you need to first understand it's a full-time volunteer program. I think that's key. Now, I wonder why you would, if you have been unemployed and, been in situations like Adiza in Bauchi, who's been unemployed since 2010, so perhaps that's 7 years. My other lady I met in Jigawa, and many of you that I've met across states, unemployed since 2009, 2010. This is a lifeline that's been extended, and I don't see why you would want to work lesser hours instead of having greater hours to build up this employability experience that you need for your permanent job post Empower. So I think you need to understand first the purpose of the program and know that it's to your benefit if you can rack up many more useful hours of gaining real life experience. I think that's point one. Now, in every state I've gone to, you need to be, for you to earn 30,000, you perhaps are a level 8 or level 9 or level 10 officer in the civil service. Now, you would have put in some years to even be at that level to earn 30,000. So I'm not aware that 30,000 is too small money for you to serve in your community. Now, the last but not the least is there is no compulsion from any of our state partners to add any top up to it. So there's no compulsion, and I'm not aware any state has actually done that. But I do know that many states have actually supported you with non-cash support, like training, providing you full training that they provide their full-time teachers, and things like that. So clearly, I'm sure that they have supported you with in more ways than none. But there's no mandatory. We don't have any mandatory decision that our partners must add anything to you. I think the last point to also then make is, if the terms are not convenient for you, again, like you rightly said, it's voluntary, so you could resign from the program. So I don't think there's no one is forced to stay in the program. And I think the last question that has just come to my notice is someone has just asked, how do I withdraw from the program? That's very easy. We've so far in this program, from the report I have in front of me, we've received 108 resignations thus far, and this is one program where I celebrate resignations. I celebrate resignations because, again, like I said, it's a lifeline that's been extended onto you to launch you and leapfrog you into the next level. So I celebrate resignation for that reason, and it's my prayer that a lot of you would have causes to resign even before the end of the 24th month. Not for you to be chalked out for disciplinary action like we have for about 21 of you. Right now, I haven't added some more that I met in the last state I've just visited. I won't mention the name. By the time I add those ones, perhaps you'll be going up to about 40 of you. Clearly, this is a program. So to resign is very simple. Just write a resignation letter and provide it to your the head of your center, the head of your primary assignment, if it's a school, your head teacher or principal. If it's a health center, your matron or administrator, and if it is an agri program, your ADP manager. Now, the whole goal, or if you do have access to your focal person, you could also send it directly to your state focal person. So it's very simple. Just write it. If you don't have access to an email or to a scanner, write it, send it to them. They'll pass it on to me, but ensure that it gets to your focal person so you can get to me, your state focal person. Where you do have access to emails, and you even have my email, or you have the support email or your focal person's email, you can just send it, scan it, and send to all of us, copy us. And once we receive, we will acknowledge receipt, we will congratulate you, and we will disengage you from the program.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. I hope it's been beneficial, and I hope that you have all learned and you will stop making illegal, fraudulent payments to fraudsters. Thank you, and God bless you.